Hey everyone, you're tuned into the False Graves Podcast. I'm AK Baby Doo, the Lightbringer.
And I'm the Furman.
A nice peaceful time.
Welcome, moon and star, come to me through fire and war. Oh, oh, come near afar, come and look upon the heart, upon the heart. Oh, lay down your weapons, it is not too late for my mercy. Oh, oh.
Oh, shout out to Young Scrolls for providing the music.
Man, shout out. Enter the Dukkah. Master the Beast.
Oh, we're talking about Dukkah. I know all about that shit.
Well, I'd prefer if you enlighten me. I've noticed you bring up the Dukkah seemingly every episode, but I'm still in the dark. I personally don't know the Dukkah, and while you enlighten me, I'll go ahead and get our tea ceremony started.
Absolutely. Now, see, I am sponsored by Big Buddha. Big Buddha, by the way, one of your favorite ways to achieve enlightenment.
Does that sponsorship in any way have a conflict with your other sponsorship from Big Daddy Gatorade?
Oh, dude, sponsorship, shut the hell up. No, not at all. No, not at all. Gatorade, please don't cut my sponsorship. I've been running your stuff through my tap like this entire time. No, but the Dukkah is the inherent suffering of the universe. We can't escape it. The big story behind that is Buddha, or Gintama, which, by the way, thanks for the trying episodes. Big shout out to their channel. Lovely guys.
And we got a comment saying the fur coat is going hard.
Oh, yeah. Fur coat, fur man.
Skinned it himself.
Oh, man.
We don't call him the furman for nothing.
Oh, yeah. That unicorn was hard to track down, but you know what? We made it happen. Just for you. For your viewing pleasure. Now,
The Dukkah.
The Dukkah. Now, back to the roundabout way about it. So, Gintama was actually raised to be a rich boy. A mama's boy.
Because you're a rich girl.
And you're going too hard, but... But anyway... He was raised rich and didn't know anything about suffering. Becomes 18, and then he pulls a total Ariel. I want to be where the people are. What he didn't know is that people outside the palace were absolutely fucking having a shit time at it.
Savages.
Genghis Khan, all of it. It was the works.
This is the history of the Dukkah?
This is the history of the Dukkah. Well, the Dukkah is the inherent suffering from the universe from the get.
Right.
Now, this is him finding it.
It's like the Mormon book of Buddhism.
Exactly. And this is the pamphlet version, so... Well, he found that being out in the world, sucked. You can hang out, you can be with prostitutes as much as you want, but it won't stop the aches and pains of your body. It won't save you from the inherentness of losing someone. So that's where he started his meditation. So the Dukkah is more of just the inherent suffering of the world.
I see.
And that's why he went out to try and achieve enlightenment.
Okay, so he was trying to overcome the suffering of the world.
AKA being the original Lightbringer.
I see. Though no one has truly brought the light yet.
Yet. We're working on it. By the way, we've got a company that's ready to go ahead and pump the lights.
What company?
We're not at time able to disclose such companies. Gatorade.
So he set out to beat the suffering of the world?
Basically. And that's by meditation, by contemplation. It's by trying to figure out what is the best way, without hurting anyone else, to be a good person and still enjoy life despite the suffering. Because life inherently, at some point, suck.
100%.
But one of my favorite sayings is, If it sucks now, that only means it can get better. Which actually you kind of taught me.
Thank you.
Oh.
So, given that he was in pursuit of enlightenment, what stopped him? Did he truly receive it? Did he become fully enlightened?
Absolutely. That's the state called nirvana.
So, but okay, here's my qualm with that.
Mm.
If anyone had truly reached enlightenment, don't you think there would be some sense of a need to be sacrificial?
Mm.
And I bring that up because if you yourself have somehow meditated or pursued a life that removed you from the horrors of the world and the pain and the suffering, and you found peace with it all, wouldn't you then want to save others?
Which is why he made a book.
He made a book.
Oh, yes. People studied him for a long time.
What was his name?
Gintama.
Mm.
Which, very humble name. Not as recognizable as Jesus Christ. Let's give props where props are due. Yeshua, he got a more popular book. Like, he was spitting that fire.
And so, if he made a book about enlightenment, why haven't more people adopted it if he was truly enlightened?
Why don't people stop doing drugs or stop watching so much TV and pursue their dreams? In this day and age, it's just easier.
Easier to not.
Exactly. The problem is that nirvana is escaping the cycle of disappointments and being in the dukkha. That's where you go ahead and achieve a sort of immortality. Basically, once you escape the realm of reincarnation, which at this point it kind of becomes muddled, it kind of becomes a little bit here and there, because like the internet now truly has made everything immortal.
True.
You say something on the internet, it's gonna be there.
True.
And like, if you can escape that, then you do become immortal. Because people will see it, they will feel it, they will be there for it. Jesus Christ was a light bringer.
True.
You can't tell me that no one has heard of the man.
Never heard of him.
Oh, get out of here.
Fair enough, fair enough. But it's all centered to some degree around death, wouldn't you agree? I think that most of the suffering that we have is somewhat in avoidance of death. And so like Jesus, you know, the biggest part of his story was the death.
Oh, yeah.
That was the biggest part. That's why the symbol of Jesus is the cross, is because that's how he died, and for other reasons. But death was the overarching.
Which thankfully he didn't die by, bear trap.
Right, because that wouldn't be as
uplifting.
And it wouldn't fit decor nearly as well. I mean,
No.
it just wouldn't. So death being, arguably the worst. Maybe not the worst, but it's what we're fixated on.
Oh, yeah. It's on a scale of things. That's one of the things that burns in the back pot of everybody's mind.
How do we beat death? How do we beat death?
Oh, there's this one rich guy. God, what is his name? I can't put my finger on it.
Mr. Brian Johnson.
Oh, yes. Now, this guy is, stupid rich. And I think that you told me a little bit about him one day, but I'm a little bit hazy on the details.
Yeah, Brian Johnson, he made Venmo. And since then, with his fortune, he staked a claim on trying to live as long as possible. So he basically has this belief that we're at a point in time where technology is advancing at such a rate that it's very likely, if you play your cards right and live as healthily as possible, you might end up being able to outlive death. Like, you might end up living into where technology can save you from death. And so as a responsible human being who cares for your own life, the best thing you could do now is to go, head first into longevity, head first into living as long as possible and making that your primary objective in life.
Didn't we try that with cryogenics in the 70s?
Yeah, but we weren't as advanced. We didn't have those fancy AI bots.
Now that is true. I've heard of companies actually willing to buy your likeness.
Yeah.
Your face, your voice, your flaws, your quibbles, just so that way they can go ahead and use it in perpetuity.
Screw perpetuity. But anywho, he is planning to live as long as possible, maybe even forever. And his whole claim is that he thinks we can unify around this belief of not dying.
Oh, man.
He thinks that humans have argued and fought and killed and murdered and did all the sins throughout history because we've never been able to come to a consensus on what is good and what is bad. And he believes that there's one game we all play, which is living, avoiding death, that we can unify around. And so the whole brand is don't die. The whole game is don't die. I personally disagree with this strongly because I know many people who long for death. They enjoy that death is a part of life. And I think most of the pleasures we indulge in are a product of death.
Have you never seen the X Games? I mean, like, that's the whole beauty of it.
You could fall and snap your neck at any point.
Like, you could, that's what makes everything so interesting. At any point, you could go out, hop on a bus, a hobo could stab you. That's what makes the bus ride fun.
Yeah. And so I ultimately disagree with his premise. I don't think people will unify around death. And I watched an interview recently between Elon Musk and Peterson where the topic actually came up. Not because of Brian Johnson, but just inadvertently. And they both, came to a consensus that people are better off with death as a reality.
Yeah.
And you got two very prominent people in society saying that, but yet everyone's going to unify around not dying. I highly doubt that people will unify around the message of don't die.
Yeah, well, the cancer patients inside the hospitals might beg to differ.
I do agree with the premise, live as long as you can. I think making that a claim is good. I think living long and enjoying your life is good. I think it shows gratitude.
Well, I mean, life is a beautiful gift, but death, being what it is, that's the punchline. Like, that's what really gives you the chutzpah to go out and live your life. Because you know that at a certain point, it's done. You're not coming back. There's not a round two. There's not.
So we got some people in the chat, and I think it really does speak to our first topic.
Ooh.
So someone says Jesus differs because he arose. No other prophets have ever done that. Because of this, he has given us all the way. He has given us all a way to beat death. And so the first topic from one of our subscribers,
which, by the way, thank you for subscribing.
Thank you. Is death truly natural? Is death natural?
It is, because at a certain point, you can be hooked up to a ventilator and had a feeding tube stuck up your ass, and you can go ahead and pretend like that's natural. But it really isn't a quality of life. Death gives quality of life.
So that's a good point. I do agree with you. Sometimes people are artificially kept alive to a point where their life isn't even worth living. I mean, you could look at certain people who are alive, but go, is this a life I'd even want to have?
Indeed.
But what do you mean when you say death gives quality to life?
Well, if you know that you have a finite amount of time at Disneyland, or infinite time at Disneyland, are you going to ride the rides, or are you going to take your time in the shops deciding which one are you going to buy? Are you going to buy the Disney bracelet, or are you going to go ahead and buy the Moana bracelet? You could go ahead and sit there forever and go back and forth on the two.
You might end up getting trapped in that consumerism instead of enjoying life.
Exactly.
Trapped in the Dukkah, even.
Oh, you'll be straight up in that dookie.
So death is a necessary component to a good life.
If there's no risk, there is no reward. If there is no guy to jump on the grenade, does it really even count?
Yeah. At risk of getting too serious too early, when I look at the Jesus story and how it relates to the question, is death truly natural? I do think objectively, death is natural. Entropy is, the king of the material universe.
That's the right here, right now for all you guys.
Yeah, everything has to die. Everything has to be reborn. I think change is the ultimate desire of materialism. I mean, nature wants change. People want change. Everything is meant to be changing and ever growing or developing.
Yeah, evolving for a different term.
You'll have a very hard time honoring that law if you live forever.
Yeah, I mean, if you can go ahead and upload your consciousness to the cloud or whatever, you're not going to give a shit if you get hit by a bus tomorrow. It's a minor inconvenience.
You're only going to get so much out of your unique life and DNA code. Like, at some point, you got to reconfigure the Beyblade and let it rip another time.
Oh, man. We're getting Beyblade into this? Sponsor us, Beyblade.
There's a limited amount of expression each of us has to give to life. And therefore, we have to die so that a new form of expression can take place. I do believe death is natural.
Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and side with you, even though we are vehemently opposed on many opinion, but I will respect your opinion, and I will double down on it. When did Van Gogh's paintings become very expensive? After he died. After there was no more. If J.K. Rowling continued her series on the Harry Potter, it wouldn't be what it is.
True.
The standalone 8 movies, sorry.
They could have made it 7.
They could have made it a 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then they could have been like Voldemort stole his toothbrush. It wouldn't have been that good.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what gives the quality, is the finite. It's knowing that there won't be another one after this. The story will end. The book will close.
Yeah.
But if you can upload your consciousness, throw yourself in a volcano.
Yeah.
Swim to the bottom of the ocean in a fucking tube made of cardboard paper and dreams.
And so I like to think we can do that anyway, even though we don't know what's after. And I'm not trying to, like, encourage any suicidal motives. I'm just saying that...
Self-deletions from the Book of Life.
that fun... And not that throwing yourself in a volcano is an act of fun, but that fun is a unifier of the spirit. And it's part of what living a life of light-bringing means, is living in fun versus living in death.
Yeah. And I mean, that doesn't mean that you have to go ahead and eat your Wheaties every morning and never smoke a cigarette.
Of course not.
No, that's not what it means.
I look at life like you get a mountain bike on Christmas. You're gonna, if you're a gratuitous person, you're gonna drive the hell out of that bike. You're gonna ride that bitch until it's both wheels are blown. Like,
yeah, but you have the guys that are coming down a mountain, dodging trees left and right, and then you got the asshole driving on the sideway.
Yeah, it's like you gotta enjoy what you have, and if you don't enjoy what you have, it's hard to go. You're grateful for what you have, and if you're not grateful for what you have, why do you deserve more?
Now that cuts deep.
And it's like, yeah, life is worth living. Is death natural? Of course death is natural.
Oh, it's natural, and I would say neutral, but we've killed like 99% of every species everywhere. So humans, we're on top, guys. Yeah!
So what does that say to Jesus, given that he rose again?
Okay, so that means that he's of the tippity top percent.
Of what?
Of the people that ever came back from dying.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time
Why
you heard
did
that?
he get to rise again? Why did Jesus get to rise again? I have my thoughts.
I personally, I think it's because he spread a good message while he was here. Like, I mean, if you lived a good life, you did God's will, if there is one. I mean, I believe in the Great Spirit, but...
Yeah. So nobody else gave a good enough message to rise again.
Well, I mean, that's where Gintama comes up again. That's right about where we're at. Like, believe it or not, he was also born of a virgin birth.
Really?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Apparently a lot of that going around during those times. People sneezing on toilet seats. But, it's a real quality of life What did you bring to the table? Did you further humans in the correct position in the correct way? Was your sacrifice both necessary and was it worthwhile? It's not like these clout chasing fucking murderers nowadays or criminals.
You'll have to forgive me for what I'm about to do.
Pour me more tea?
But I'm about to enter the flow state.
Oh, shit, guys. Here we go. Cheers to the audience.
So, no, I think he rose again for a different reason than just a good message.
Publicity?
I think whether people know it or not, there is a cosmic scale, and I won't say good or bad. I don't believe in good or bad. But I believe in there is actions and words that are conducive to life, and there's actions and words conducive to death. It's one thing to reproduce and to have a new life on this earth, but you have to think that in the spiritual realm and even in like the vocal and emotional realm, there are actions you can take that are conducive to death.
Indeed.
And I think that most people live as a sum of death. Most people's lives will end up being a net death. And I'm not saying that means they're going to hell or that means that they're necessarily a bad person. Arguably, all of human existence and life is more of the taking than it is the giving. We're more of a taker than we are a giver. We draw more from our environment than we give to it. Imagine for a second that you could live in a way that gave more to your environment than you took from it. And now that's arguably impossible because when you breathe and you eat and you consume, it's all an element of survival. Like living in and of itself is almost a degree of taking. If you live, you take. If you can't take, how do you live?
Man, I kind of let this man cook, chat. Let this man cook.
And so I think Jesus was one of the first people, maybe the only, to find a way to give enough that he ended up being a net positive. And when you're a net positive, death can't kill you because there's something left over. Like, once the subtraction happens, something remains. And when you look at how he came back, it was in a different state than people had known him before. It wasn't like it was just exactly the same.
Oh, man, our chat is blowing up.
And so he came back in a different state, and it was the sum of what he had left. When you talk about, he goes, he's the bread and the wine. It's because he found a way to beat the problem. I mean, he beat the mathematical equation of light versus dark. He was more light than dark.
Almost substantially. Like, what happened inside of a dirt village like 400 million years ago, like that's, and you're still getting talked about today, and you're still being followed, and you're still leading people from beyond a tangible point.
Right.
That's got to say something about your character. I mean, it's still better than Ted Bundy or like Jesse James or anything like that. Like those guys, they're just criminals.
So, Christian H in the chat, I'm curious, why do you suck? I mean, I just want to know. I don't think you suck, but you stated that you do. I just want to know why.
I'm kind of curious on this too. Have you murdered any hookers lately?
So, I don't think that death is unnatural. It's a very natural phenomenon, and I think as a human, it's a mercy.
I think it's the closing of a good book.
So I actually don't know who this is in the chat, but I'm hoping. I really like this person. So he says he sucks because he's hating on Jesus, or because killed Jesus. But I'll go ahead and say this. That's part of what False Graves is about, is to not believe in death. It's to not believe in the grave. It's to honor Jesus to an extent. We don't want to believe in death. We don't want to live our lives in death. And so even something as serious as Jesus is a topic that I think is meant to be discussed freely.
Oh, yeah. If he can go ahead and create, the universe, he can take a joke.
Of course. The whole idea is that we can be light enough on this earth that we can discuss in a way. We can discuss topics and not want to kill each other when it's said and done. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the gallows humor. We're all in this together. We're all going to face the noose one day, so why not enjoy it?
the world will tell you, oh, he doesn't believe in Jesus. Kill him!
Oh, let's stone him. Let's go ahead and burn him at the stake. And yet, me and this man right here, we can go ahead and get along like, well.
And we get Christopher. He goes, I want to be on the cast so bad. I love this man. Dude, respect to you, man. I love to see it. We're trying our best here to do a good show, but it's nice to see some organic viewers.
Hey, man, if we can go ahead and get you on, that'd be absolutely beautiful.
100%. If we find a way to get you on, we'll get you on.
I mean, it's going to be crazy, and we're going to say some controversial things from time to time, but just know, don't take it so fucking seriously.
Also, before we go into our topics for the night,
Ooh.
I noticed we're at 5 viewers. We had 8 on our last live. Anytime that we beat our previous concurrent viewer count, I will make it a money night. And so anytime we get up above what we have in the past, I'll go ahead and give some money rewards out to viewers. So we're at 5 now. If we get up to 9 or 10 viewers, we'll say 9 because we had 8 last time. I'll go ahead and do a cash giveaway.
Oh, don't make it easy for them. Go ahead and make it 10.
Okay, an even 10. We get an even 10 viewers. We'll do some cash giveaways.
Oh, fellas, let me go ahead and tell you now, these are real casholas, not pesos, not yen. This is real American tender.
We got other people saying they can't get on the show.
Oh, and you can. Possibly.
Yeah, but okay, we got a show for you guys.
Which, by the way, for the live cricket eating for 1,000 subs, bring them on.
And thank you guys for the 600 plus subscribers. We are growing so quickly.
Oh my god.
We are growing quick.
We are almost at 700. I'm almost having to eat a handful of live crickets. I'll eat 2 if you can make it 2,000.
For those worried for our safety, I promise I'm going to source the finest crickets out there. We are sourcing the finest crickets.
We'll smash them with a hammer.
But to get on with the night, murderers, are they the new celebrities?
Oh man, I think all criminals are. After that one guy got a celebrity modeling deal for being just good on the photo, just
to be fair, the guy who got that celebrity modeling, that was an attractive criminal.
Oh yeah, well I mean I wouldn't have his babies, but you know I'd call him in prison. Like I'm sorry to go from.
He's out of prison now. You ain't got to call the prison number.
No, I got to call his secretary, and that's too much work. But, like, I believe that if any criminal gets famous, I believe they're a clout chaser. Oh, absolutely. I mean, come on. Back in the day, you could have made something or done something, but instead you decide to go ahead and be an asshole.
Yeah.
You're a clout chaser.
So you think criminals of the past were clout chasers?
Some of them. I mean, I don't think Jesse James ever walked into a bank and was like, please give me the money. You know, keep it quiet, but it's Jesse James.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that ever happened. I think he shot his fucking initials into the barn where they kept the gold.
Yeah. You gotta, that's true though. Like in the past, one of the surefire ways to get a lot of press or notoriety was to commit crimes.
It was either invent something, free some people, or kill some people. And sometimes, you know, the 3, you know, kind of...
You could do all 3.
Ah, and that was trifecta.
You could kill a man, rob his house, and pickle him. And then you're the guy who learned how to pickle.
I mean, it worked for Thomas Edison. He killed an elephant in Times Square. Little history note for you guys at home. Thomas Edison was a little bit of an asshole. You might want to take a look into it.
I have seen that.
Oh, man. He killed an elephant. Who does that? For clout. We don't kill elephants for clout. We kill crickets. Tops.
So as with all things today, everything's sort of watered down. You think that, maybe celebrities today are just watered down murderers and criminals?
Well, I mean, the ones with redemption arcs. I mean, I'm just saying, there's a couple out there. I mean, come on. Like, some of the best redemption arcs are celebrities going to rehab. They're complete shenanigans.
100%.
And then they go to rehab. We're talking like Russell Brand, which, by the way, shout out Russell Brand. Great guy. Never met him. However, he turned his shit around. Good on him. But if you watch that shit, I mean, he went from fucking doing coke and whatever the hell else he was willing to shove up his nose, asshole, and pee hole to preaching, basically being a light bringer.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a big fan of Russell Brand and his show. I think he might be one of the more neutral voices on social media today. He's very neutral, not left or right, and I enjoy his content. So yeah, for Christopher in the chat, I do want to say, yeah, the show is based around not living in death. I am implying that almost all of modern society was invented through the fear of death. And that there's very few genuine inventions or intuition in the world, and most of human experience and reaction is centered around avoiding death and fearing it.
Oh, yeah. And like, I'm going to have to side on George Carlin on this one, but if it isn't based on death, it's dick measuring.
Dude, George Carlin was one of the greats. I look back on his content and I'm like, he speaks so much truth. How did people even find it funny?
Well, that's the mix right there. That's what we're trying to bring to you, straight to your homes.
George Carlin, straight to your dome.
Oh, man. He might have been an atheist, in which, each to their own, or an agnostic, or a sun worshiper.
But I still loved him. My dad loved George Carlin. I grew up listening to him. Probably not the best content for a kid, but I love me some George Carlin.
But wait a minute, that would mean that you have a conflicting, polarizing, kind of viewpoint. That's so weird that you can enjoy both his comedy and still be God-fearing.
Of course I'm God-fearing. I learned to be.
But aren't you punching up at the big people?
Yeah, I'm punching up at everybody.
See?
And I know we got topics, but I gotta hit on that. Aren't you punching up at the big people? One of the things I say to people who don't believe is you should fight with God. You'll fight with your parents, you'll fight with your government, you'll fight with your employer, and be a non-believer, but you won't just go outside and scream at the sky and fight with God. I don't think it's in any way sacrilegious to fight God and to call him out. I do not think so. For one, you're communicating with him, for starters. He's going to be like, oh, this bitch is actually talking to me.
At least
rather than denying my existence.
At least it's starting a conversation. Like, hey, whoa. You don't understand the grand plan.
Yeah.
But...
And so, yeah, I am punching up. And I'd say anyone at home, go ahead and fight. Go outside. Scream.
Yell at the lightning. Scream at the sky. Be in the rain. And be cleansed.
And see what happens.
It's an experience.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, like, and I think that's why God put us all here, is to experience.
100%.
He put us in the Dukkah to get out of the Dukkah.
To understand the Dukkah, you must be in the Dukkah. This is true.
It's like trying to explain, like, cybernetical, electronic, whatever the hell money thing you've got going on to me, who's never done it.
Correct.
Like, we can go ahead and try and explain cryptocurrency to a tribe in Africa. You make money doing what? But if they've never experienced a computer, you've got your work cut out for you.
You do.
But if you have a place in your heart to do it, then you can break it down for them. You can do your best, but until they see a computer and understand, we can do this from home. We can understand other people from other nations and other places in a way that you simply cannot.
correct.
Now, the question becomes, does that make Jesus a supercomputer?
No, he's not a supercomputer.
I feel like he is.
Do you believe in Jesus, Mr. Furman?
I believe in the Great Spirit above us. I believe that we are all simultaneously living a million lives through the eyes of something greater than us.
Right.
So your suffering is not in vain. Death is not just some fucking punch ticket that's not appreciated. Your life is not unappreciated. But then again, I could just be in the light.
Exposed to the light. So, before we move on, to keep this show cohesive, I got to say something to Christopher.
Oh.
Because,
by the way, thanks for tuning in, Chris. You're really lighting up that chat.
Yes. I don't know him, but we'll have him on sometime. Do you know him?
No. If he's that one Buddhist out in Germany, we got you.
So I'll speak some to Christopher, and then we'll move on to our topics, and we'll have him on in the future. We'll have Christopher on.
Absolutely.
So he's going, he disagrees only because I'm the kind of guy who believes brains dictate behavior, and brains/regions of the brain compete for representation. Certain regions necessarily deal in death and morality. We don't live in death. We live in a myriad of states that have more or less to do with death depending.
Chris, way to go ahead and cook in them chats, bro. Way to fucking cook on them.
So I will say, for the people at home, most of my life, and even now, I would consider myself a sociopath or a psychopath. I lack basic empathy and understanding for other people, and most of the way I view the world is strictly mechanical or manipulative. And so when you say something like Jesus, or not Jesus, but the fear of death might just be the way that we interact with the world, it's brains and numbers and statistics, I disagree, because as somebody who is somewhat sociopathic, I've learned to believe in a very different way. For starters, I fought with God, and things were, shown to me, but I would tell you most of my life I thought strictly in risk, numbers, and probabilities. If I do this action, will it net me this outcome? Will it net me this result? And so there was very little emotion in the way that I made decisions.
So you believe more materialistically, brain-wise, but heart-wise, you believe more spiritually.
Yeah, well, I, in the past, believed exclusively materialistically. I was exclusively material. And I do think if the world as a whole was exclusively material, it would self-destruct immediately.
Yeah, we wouldn't have food banks. We wouldn't have places where people, like Canada, that has free healthcare. Those people believe spiritually.
It's time, Mr. Furman, to become the tip whisperer.
Oh, all right. So, anyway, though.
So I say that to go, if you're going, it's truly just numbers and regions of brains, and we're all just trying to figure this out, and we make up mythical stories to justify our existence.
Or inspire, for another word.
Or inspire. I think it's more than that. And I'd love to have you on, and we could have a more lengthy discussion on this.
Oh, it's going to be one of our most controversial episodes. Let's fucking go.
And so, I say all that to go, we'll have you on, and we'll continue this discussion on one of our future live streams. And I appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. It's a promise from the Furman and AK Baby Do.
So, one thing I'm curious is, why do all big celebrities end up coming into some form of controversy? It's almost like if you're big enough, you're going to have some controversy.
Well, see, I believe that if you're going to become a great man, you will never be a good man. You're going to have to step on some feet. You're gonna go ahead and do some shit outside the norm that people are gonna go ahead and say something about. Like, hell, we had the immortal guy on here, 2.5 ago. And that man is parting his kid out for parts.
So you're staking a claim that to be big, to some degree, you have to do something controversial.
Oh, okay. So I'm pretty sure that Alexander the Great, he did nothing. He made bread and he stayed in his hut.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Caesar, he did nothing but like jerk off in the back porta-stands of a donkey palace.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
To be honest, when it comes to Caesar, the only thing I know about him is that he was stabbed many, many times. I actually don't know a lot about his rule.
Well, I know he made a bitchin' salad.
Caesar salad.
Well, I mean, they don't make a Genghis Khan salad, so...
Hey, that might slap, though.
I mean, it'll have like 10 kids' paternity suits, tied to it, but whatever.
So you have to be somewhat controversial to be a big name. Is that?
If you want to go ahead and have clout, you got to speak out.
That is true. You have to speak out to have clout.
You got to go ahead and find that fire in people that they didn't know had that fire.
You got to take the fire within you and burn a couple people along the way to inspire the masses.
Exactly. Nobody escaped a pit by not stepping on another person. Nobody.
SpongeBob taught me that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, if he didn't have that magic pen, like, Patrick would still be in a pit.
Yeah. So speaking of big people getting attacked.
Oh, are we about to do the beasties?
You got to look at Mr. Beast today.
Oh, we're getting into the beasties.
Mr. Beast, he's just got negative press, negative press, negative press. At this point, it's hard to know when it's going to stop.
Are you only talking about the Delaware situation, or are we talking about the Chris Chan?
Well, the Delaware situation is the one that I know to be the most recent. Maybe there's more.
Okay, I'm going to let this man cook.
Okay, well, apparently, Mr. Beast had harbored some sex offender?
Oh, yeah.
And he allowed him to be on some of his videos, and he made a conscious attempt to conceal his identity, knowing his past.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we might wear sunglasses here, but, 10,000 views, I'll take this shit off. I'm just a fucking nobody from nowhere.
And, yeah, if that's true, I mean, I think this is the biggest hit piece to come out yet. I mean, this is the most serious by far.
I mean, considering between the chat logs, the Shadman poster, the transsexual trying to go ahead and make, favors.
Yeah.
There you go, YouTube. Favors for somebody in the middle to try and go ahead and get into videos. Oh, dude, it's just a shit show from the top.
Yeah. And you got to think, with him having 330 or 300 and some million subscribers, how has this stuff somehow not come out sooner? Like, how has this stuff not already been talked about or discussed beforehand?
I think it's like 1 part politics, 2 parts this man has enough money to buy 2 islands and a Walmart.
On 2 islands. Imagine you open up 2 Walmarts on an island just for your own sake.
Fucking shit. And with his money, like, no offense to Jimmy, but like, if you've got that kind of money, like, you could probably hire non-sex offenders.
Yeah, you probably could.
I mean, like, to be fair. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a background screening and he was just sitting over there like, but what if we put a mask on him?
It speaks to a wider phenomenon that all this press came in a snowball effect. Like the Chris/Ava Tyson was just an associative thing.
Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg, and then it rolled, and then it's faking his content, and then it rolled, and then all of a sudden we have a sex offender on our hands.
Yeah.
I mean,
so in any way, do you think it might be justified that he had this person on his videos?
No. For sex offenders, that's a very slippery slope. Like, that's...
But do you think there's any chance that he didn't know?
There is And there is a possibility that vampires walk amongst us. There is a possibility that the earth is hollow. There is a possibility that somewhere a unicorn is fisting a leprechaun. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's probably pretty unlikely.
Probably pretty unlikely.
I mean, like, if we're doing statisticals, 1 second. 98 divided by 2. And if
Well, don't go Stephen Hawking on me.
Oh, man, I need
Don't be one of his midgets.
Oh, I need 4 more midgets to go ahead and do the calculations, but, like, the possibility is, like, 0.2.
Julie, send some more viewers before you go.
Oh, come on. Lay it on us.
So you think that Mr. Beast definitely knew?
I mean, it'd be very hard. It'd be hard. I mean, like Ron Jeremy on fucking methamphetamines. Hard.
To be fair, I don't know that enough has come out about it yet, and maybe I'm wrong, but like, do we know that Delaware, what crime he committed, where he committed it, etc.?
Yes,
maybe is it somebody that Mr. Beast knew? Was it somebody that he knew beforehand?
Now see, there'd be the tricky wicket. Okay, so you know Jake the Viking off YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's his brother-in-law.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Delaware?
Yup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not to go ahead and tap on some issues that we don't want to have, but however, it was his brother-in-law. And
so that would make it quite hard to say you didn't know.
If you did no background searches on a video that's going to go ahead and get like several million views.
Much like ours.
Well, I mean,
someday.
We ain't got no fucking sexual predators on here, so like that's... Chris, please don't be a sexual predator.
We're waiting until we get really big for some reason to just all of a sudden, as they all do.
Oh, see, like, let me go ahead and get these skeletons out the closet. Like, I've killed several hookers. Several.
But they were of age.
No, they were alligators. I was born in Florida. I love that alligator ussy.
I understand.
It's just hard to pass up
Florida man. I mean, you're a natural Florida man,
yeah.
Right?
Oh, dude.
So.
Born in Fort Myers. Not even the good part, like Miami.
Before Ohio took all your clout away.
Fucking Ohio.
It used to be Florida man.
Can't believe those assholes took my clout. We launched Gators through Taco Bell windows for years to get that title, and y'all just steal it up.
Yeah, next thing you know, Ohio, man.
I can't believe it. We worked hard for that.
So outside of just Mr. Beast's situation, I do think it speaks to a larger issue, which is all super prominent figures at some point are introduced to an extreme amount of controversy. Whether Mr. Beast's right or wrong, I think even if you are right and you're a prominent figure, you're going to end up in some form of controversy.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to ask, why is that? Like, why do prominent figures end up in controversy? And I don't think it's strictly because they have to be controversial to be famous. I actually think it speaks to a different issue.
I think that it's due to the fact that if you're going to be that high up on the food chain, at some point, someone's going to evolve some claws. They're going to climb that beast. The mouse will eventually go ahead and find a way to poison the tiger.
100%.
I mean, it is what it is.
I think it has more to do with strength. I think expression, especially at mass scale, is a form of strength. Anyone who can go and make content that 300 million people view has some degree of strength.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that everyone at the bottom, everyone who doesn't have a name or has a regular life, people want to see strength. They want to experience strength. People want something to believe in. And the best way to know that your belief is founded. Okay, the best way to know that your belief is true is to stress test the representation of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you've got a prominent figure that you're a fan of and you believe in, the best way to know that they're a true figure or what they say is worth even listening to is, can you stress test them and they survive it?
Yeah. Because, like, if you can't go ahead and go on a chat and tell them, like, some of the worst shit they've done, if you can't go ahead and punch up even a little bit from where you're standing, are you even standing?
Yeah. And thank you, Christian. He's saying actually an excellent take.
Mm.
And,
by the way, thank you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, I think we want to know what we view and watch is real. We want to know that the people believe what they say and they're a real person, and
which
we want to put as much stress on them as possible. The bigger you are, the more stress is coming your way. Like,
if you're going to be Joe Biden and then you're going to drop out, we going to clown you.
That's why an actual fantasy of mine, being the light bringer, part of being the light bringer is a trope in and of itself to induce people to try and reduce my light. And I know that sounds weird, but I became the light bringer in a conflictive state. I want to be a part of conflict. And I say that to go, I'm encouraging people to come and reduce the light.
Okay, so you're trying to go ahead and get a couple of trolls up in this piece.
Well, we've had a few trolls. I've responded to all trolls that we've had.
Really?
Yeah. I respond to trolls. I don't want to in any way censor hateful comments.
Oh, pinky out to you, my man. Tink.
No, I don't believe in censoring hateful comments. How else are you supposed to bring people in? Like, bring people to the message?
Well, I mean, you could go ahead and censor them, but like...
Screw censoring. Screw censorship.
Oh, shit. You just opened us up to a whole can of worms.
Enlighten me. What worms did I open?
Oh, well, they'll find any single flaw. Group mentality typically leads to witch burning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen many a good YouTuber go ahead and get roasted for being perfectly fine. Back in my day, I've seen many a people get absolutely toasted over the most medium of comments, especially those they said out of anger.
Okay, what about the Social Security numbers getting hacked? I don't know about that. Like, how do you hack a Social Security number?
I don't know how it happened.
You know about this?
No, I know a little. I know a schmiggle about it. Like, let me go ahead and dust it along the track. But, however, 2.5 billion people, names, addresses, Social Securities, the mother's maiden name, and basically everything but their fingerprint got leaked.
Oh, damn. Maybe my social got leaked.
Oh, more than likely. Like 2.8 billion. Let's roll the dice. 2.8 million is 2.8 billion is literally New York alone.
Lord. Social is social. I think in the future, privacy is going away, and I don't like that. I mean, I'm a big fan of individual privacy, but I do think we're going to come into a point in society where privacy is
gone.
Oh,
yeah. Which, by the way, before this gets leaked, I've been divorced, so, yeah.
I mean, me too. We're both divorced.
For reasons that are unknown.
I'm personally divorced from the darkness exclusively. I'm only in the light now. I got full custody of the light.
Also, for the audience, he's got a thigh tattoo of the thing that says it's slobbering the time. So, like, that might have been it.
How would you know that, Ian? Can you enlighten the audience?
No, I can't. Well, I mean, like,
Mr. Furman, Jesus Christ.
Well, like, I saw the picture of the diagram, but, like, it's clearly the thing. It's a rock monster with a tidal bubble of it and an arrow. It's crazy. It's absolute insanity.
And so with with privacy being a dying, element, what's to come? Like, if no one has a private life anymore, what will be left?
Absolute anarchy. You either fall in line, or we get rid of the internet. And, like, there's going to be a portion of them. It's probably going to be the vegans, which I don't agree on their principle because meat is so good. My God. If I have to give up bacon and the internet, we're going to have a tough time getting along.
100%. Some people in the chat don't know about my light tattoo.
Man, it's just all up, like, right here around the thyroid region.
The thyroid's in the neck.
No, they're not. They're in the thigh. That's the whole point.
But anywho, with privacy being gone, I think there's a particular storm brewing. So we have the lack of privacy mixed with the excessive need to censor.
Okay, so we're talking like some GGCP kind of shit.
Yeah, so imagine everything you say isn't private, but also everything you say people want to censor. And so you end up in this blend of, well, now everything you say has to be censored, even to yourself.
Mind control diet. Because, like, if you're willing to go ahead and censor yourself, then you're absolutely at a point of mind control. Diet 0.
Have you seen, there's some videos about, like, they have these tests now where they can actually scan your brain and they'll know what you're thinking as you're thinking it.
No.
You haven't seen that?
No, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, it was like one of these conventions, like one of those world conventions. They shown that they can scan your brainwaves and know what you're thinking.
The fuck?
Yeah.
No, okay, like, chat, they're probably f***ing with me. Like, no, you bring in the light, but you fucking with me. No, why?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Like, they can scan my brain.
We got Chris in the chat saying he's a neuro major and he's familiar with it. We got a brain scanner right in the chat. He's probably scanning our brains right now.
Okay, look, Chris in the chat. Okay, I'm sorry. Bull honky. No way they can tell what I'm thinking. It's mostly tacos and...
So, an interesting dilemma with the brain scans, which I've thought about. What if in the future there will exist a person who simultaneously is able to think one thing and believe another, and that they'll be able to inadvertently escape censorship and, people knowing what they think by being able to cast an idea in their head, but somehow in their spirit hold on to a different belief.
Okay, so we're talking evolution of a different kind. He's on to us.
We got some people saying I commit several war crimes in my mind.
Oh, fuck. Thanks, chat.
The future is going to be the people who have the most random thoughts, somehow avoiding all, like, control. It's like, I mean...
Fuck, I'm sorry. Chat, one second. I just need a fucking second. Because I'm on that same train with you, motherfuckers. I'm sorry. Fuck it. Dude, every time I have to go to the DMV, I am literally committing a war crime halfway through the time.
The future will be left to those who can imagine killing the clerk at the DMV, but at the same time, somehow not think about it. Only in spirit do they murder this person.
Now, that begets a good question. Where does the brain and the spirit differentiate? Where do those split?
The reason I think the spirit and the brain are different is a product of my own experience, admittedly. But I've personally always felt I was a third-party observer to my own person. Even as a kid, you know, there used to be those memes about when you first discover consciousness. Like, oh, I became conscious at age 6.
Uh-huh.
I always looked at myself like a blank piece of paper. I'm like, I can write in whatever I want to go in it. If I want to be a fucking Roll Tide fan, I can just write that in. Like, I just felt like I had control over the subject, control over myself. And that is different than the brain. I truly think the spirit exists above the brain.
Well, I mean, you could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
I mean, like, the spirit and the brain, like, you've got that conscious, and then you got the subconscious.
Yep.
Now, there be many differences. Because, like, I can't tell you how many times I thought about pulling a fucking Columbine going into school. Like, I'll be freely able to admit it. I'm a bit of a fucking psychopath. He's a socio. I'm a psycho. But, like, if I didn't have to see, like, 95% of those motherfuckers, it'd still be too soon. And be surprised on this one, chat. I got bullied a lot.
Ow!
I know, shock and horror.
You are, at this point in life, you're a straight flexer. How could you possibly have been bullied? Look at you now, the status you've obtained. We are on a YouTube channel with 600 subs, having only started 2 months ago.
Man. Which, by the way, fucking clap to the fucking subscribers.
Thank you, guys. And shout out to Chris, man. Chris is going crazy in the chat. And I like his take. He thinks they're one and the same. The brain, by proxy, the brain created the ability to observe itself as a third party, which I think is a fair argument.
Well, it's kind of like an eye observing an eye.
Yeah. It's a very fair argument. It's one I'd love to discuss with him. And we will discuss with him.
Well, I mean, stay in them fucking chats. Minimum, we're going to discuss it.
This podcast is turning more into a chat interaction.
Yeah,
which is nice. We're getting the people.
Believe it or not, we've actually strayed away from 18 different topics just to go ahead and talk with you.
That's true. And you would have learned some things.
I mean, we can go ahead and delve in them in different episodes, but like the chat is where it's at.
We love our chat. We love our viewers.
Y'all go ahead and tune in.
If there's one thing that I want to make a brand off, it's loving our viewers. And you know, I don't know Chris, and maybe you do, but I'll say this. I've talked to you about it. At some point when we hit the pinnacle of our cultural relevance, the pinnacle of peak. Which
could be 10,000, could be 1,000, which please don't reach 1,000. I don't want to eat crickets.
I'm personally planning to dissolve all of my material possessions and give them away as an ode to the light.
No shit.
I really am.
Well,
my biggest fantasy is there would be a celebrity that one day rose up, cultivated the society at large, and gave it all away. Truly gave it all away.
That'd be fucking absolutely inspiring, because as somebody that's like a level 1 light bringer, I'm trying to reach that level where I can give up material possessions, because I can't. Honestly, I really do love killing hookers.
That's a hard one to give up, but it will come. I will enlighten you.
We'll see about that.
So Chris says, I like talking shit, and I've drank a lot today. So he's really one of the crew. He's
might as well be on the fucking cast, bud. Fuck it. Salud.
Yeah, I am planning to document the experience after giving everything away. I do think, obviously, I'll still have to own a camera or have somebody, videoing me. But the idea would be, I ideally get big enough that I've cultivated enough of a following, people will do this somewhat voluntarily. Like, if we were at Mr. Beast levels, let's say,
man,
and we gave away all earthly possessions, someone would come to document the story.
Well, you'd have an entire island, plus like tigers and monster trucks on that island.
And so ideally we end up in a, maybe not that big, but at least a comparable situation.
It'd be the fucking tits.
100%.
Man. And see, I believe that we can make it to that level, especially with subscribers like Chris tuning in.
Well, he's our most ideal subscriber.
Oh, yeah. Fucking go ahead and tune in.
If you were all like Chris, that's going to be part of the branding.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
You fuckers at home over here being like Sheila. And we've already told you about Sheila 2 or 3 times now.
Oh, that bitch Sheila with the fucking 2 kids across the street? I can't fucking believe her. She still is launching fucking rocks at my car.
Screw Sheila.
Oh, and her 2 kids. God bless it. I would say damn it, but like, you know, that's frowned upon. However, her fucking kids launching shit at my back window every time I pull into the studio. Absolute shit. I hope that those kids get cerebral palsy. Fucking absolute
Kids
trash.
are innocent. Kids are innocent.
No,
we're bringing the light. No.
I mean,
I have to sometimes throttle his darkness.
I'm sorry.
He is a low-level light bringer. We're working on it.
I'm on level 1. I'm working up to level 2. Damn it. Like, it's just so fucking hard when you have to replace a back window 4 times.
Understandable.
Ah, fuck Sheila. Get your kids in line.
So let's. This has been a chat interactive pod. Let's end with something.
Oh,
Give them a.
let's stir the pot a little.
Yeah. Stir in the pot.
Ah. Go ahead.
You're expecting me to stir the pot?
Oh, no. If I'm going to stir the pot, like, the light bringer is the pot, and I'm the fucking spoon on this one. Now, have you seen the video of that guy that's doing interviews on the street, and he's doing the Trump Kamala Harris interviews?
Man, I know you ain't about to just natural this on the spot. But I have seen it. I've seen it.
No, really?
Yeah, I actually have.
What's that? It's weird. It's got low amount of views on it.
Oh, well, okay. But I have seen it, yeah.
No, okay.
Tell me what you noticed.
Okay, so what I noticed is that there's a lot of fucking Trump supporters. They're absolute across the board, which, by the way, Trumpy P.
I like Trump.
King Emperor Cheeto.
And I'll say I also like Kamala.
Nah.
Even though I'm not voting for Kamala, I like her I like people.
Gross. Anyway, though, in the meantime, so we've got a lot of people supporting Trump. We've across the board on this. Now, we reached this 70-year-old, almost 80-year-old, almost 90-year-old dude.
Yeah.
And he goes off the board. He doesn't go, I don't like Trump. It's, I will shoot him in his face. It's absolute anarchy. Yeah.
In this clip, everyone's like saying Trump, and one person says Kamala, and he's an older man working at some company. And the guy goes, I would shoot Trump if I seen him.
Absolute fucking off the walls nutter butters.
And that's not, for me, that wasn't the issue of the topic. The issue was I went to the comments of this video, and I saw Trump supporters. The top comment was them tagging the company he worked for, asking for him to be fired. The top comment was asking for him to be fired.
Yeah, which I feel is a little bit GGCP kind of fucking citizen review kind of shit.
I fully get there's things you just shouldn't say and that are too far. I do get that. But I think as a society we've went way too far with trying to throttle people's livelihoods based on them having a genuine opinion. When I watched that clip, I'm like, there's no way this older guy actually would do that to Trump. He simply... When I watched that clip, I'm like, he's simply... You take it. You take it.
Well, I mean, I don't think that he was actually willing to go ahead and bust out a gat at the fucking Emperor Cheeto.
Yeah, I don't either.
But freedom of speech, that doesn't mean freedom from consequence.
And so I think a huge issue we're going to have to deal with going into the future of modern society is how are people going to get to speak their mind at the same time maintain their livelihoods? Because you have people on each side, left and right, calling for the destruction of a person because they stated a extravagant opinion. On both sides, you've got people saying, hey, fire this person, they said this. Hey, fire this person, they said this. Livelihood really, especially for your average person, I think should be safeguarded.
Well, I mean, you'd figure right, but which lives save lives? Fucking, that might be controversial, but let's go ahead and get canceled. The point being, though, is that you are right by the Second Amendment, by literally the freedom of speech.
Yeah.
However, that does not exclude you from freedom of consequence.
Of course. But I think employers as a whole need to make a dramatic shift in how they handle employees.
Yeah.
I think the legal state with which America is in, and probably the West as a whole, is so sensitive that people are going to end up losing their jobs over just voicing a genuine opinion. And I think part of our whole premise, the brand's defining itself over time, but part of this podcast is we want people to be able to speak their mind and not lose their livelihood in the process. The more people that are speaking their mind, the better, simply because there'll come a point, if enough people speak their minds, that employers won't be able to fire you for speaking your mind. They'll have nobody who hasn't. There'll be no employee who doesn't speak their mind.
Unless it's Big Daddy Gatorade.
They got us by the balls, let's be honest.
Well,
but
Daddy Gatorade.
I'm over here drinking water. This man's drinking a full tankard of Gatorade.
Arctic Blast. So hydrating.
And so I just hate that people as a whole are under this mercy of their employers or of their organizations. It's like a person can be an individual and still subscribe to the good of an organization.
Oh, weird question. Where's our subscribe? Where are we at on the live views?
We're currently at 4 viewers. But like I said, if we get up to 10, I'll do a cash giveaway again.
A cash giveaway, actual legal tender money
for all debts, public and private.
Oh my god.
And so, yeah, it's like I was watching this clip the other day. And it was this, I like to watch a lot of traffic videos. And I saw this this guy get into this interaction with a guy in a work van. And he cut him off, and the guy in the car was black and the guy in the work van was white. And it was clearly a hostile interaction. But both people were cussing each other, and the guy in the work van ends up saying the N-word to the guy in the car.
The most hurtful word that you can say.
Yeah, and the guy in the car is videoing him, and he's like, "Hi, I got you on camera. I'm going to send this to your employer." And the guy in the van's an older man. I don't know how old, but at least in his 50s. And I'm like, maybe this guy's worked for this company for 20 or 30 years, and he's about to get fired for a brief slip-up in a moment of anger. And I think that is so unbecoming of humanity. It's so unbecoming that we can lose our livelihoods over a split second of anger. So like, aren't we worth more than that?
So we're talking like cancel culture right now.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like cancel culture.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, like, that's something that we've been against ever since we started this podcast. Like, believe it or not, we thought that we were going to go ahead and get canceled within our first podcast, which, by the way, go ahead and try.
Yeah. Real quick, I want you to finish. To Chris, we are planning to set up donations, but we are, at least to be honest, I'm the one running this show, and Ian is the guy who assists me. I mean, in the technical sense.
Oh,
Mr. Furman.
oh, no, it's fine. It's cool. Doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
But no, what I'm saying is we're very untechnically inclined, and we haven't set up donations yet because I don't know how, but I will set them up on this next stream.
Which, by the way, go ahead and visit our website. We're going to go ahead and have, like, incredible draws.
Yeah, because I will set it up. I just haven't. That's on me.
That's on AK.
Yeah.
Like, believe it or not, this man is willing to go ahead and put his money where his mouth is, and none of it's going to be fake as shit. We are not Mr. Beast. We are not some fucking fake kindness content bullshit. We are all about that real shit.
100%.
Even though it hurts our feelings.
Well, we cry a little after the stream, but that's part of bringing the light.
Yeah, that's mostly me.
No, there's no beef between us. I'm just saying we're not tech people. We're not versed in this realm. We're just two dudes who say random crap and want to beat death.
Yeah, he doesn't hit me with his ring hand. He cares about me. So, I'm like, it's okay. Chris in the chat, he doesn't care. It's okay.
I care very much, truly. So, Ian, I've made a mockery out of myself at this point. Guide me along. I'm now in your mercy as we gently glide throughout the end of this podcast.
Then you know what? I'm going to go ahead and subject you to some would you rathers. Oh yeah. We're talking big guns.
Okay.
The chat has empowered me. So, would you rather get rid of all technology past Amish standards?
Okay.
Or
So be Amish.
yeah. I'm talking full beard, fucking silly hat. Yeah. Oh, you already got the beard, but the silly hat. Now, would you rather get rid of all technology up to Amish standards or keep it to all technologically advancement to hive mind? Yes. Oh.
No, I don't want to give it to hive mind.
Oh.
No, thank you.
Even if it isn't for the betterment of mankind.
Well, what's the betterment of mankind is very subjective. I think the hive mind has a naturally diminishing effect. Well, yeah, because I think in the world there are forces that are stronger than other forces, and they rally groups of people into said force. And the ultimate ideal of a moving force on Earth is to turn people into a piston of an engine. They want you to be the perfect, precise instrument to coincide with the force that's being brought. So, like, if you're a part of a big company, a part of a big country, what you want most is predictable forces, predictable people. Variability makes for a very bumpy ride with any force.
Variability has been the strong point of humanity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why, given the two evils, because I'm not anti-tech, but given the option between, the two, I would choose technology to not advance past the Amish versus us all being part of a hive mind.
Now, see, that is where you and I would differ. I would go ahead and bump us back to the Stone Age. Yeah. Yeah, no. I know. Very controversial take. Considering the fact that me and YouTube, we're on a very intimate level.
That's true at this point.
Oh, man.
This man is 350 subs away from eating a handful of live crickets.
Oh, that's not even the worst of it. Wait till you get 100,000.
Oh, you don't know.
Oh, the shit that I'm going to do is going to be fucking unheard of. However, I would bump us back to the Stone Age. Almost the Stone Age. Like, they got buttons on their pants. Like, come on, give them credit where credit's due.
You'd bump us back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because...
Why would you bump us back? I thought you were like a hedonist.
No, I'm a hedonist, but like I wouldn't be a hedonist if given the only options was eat and survive. Yeah,
Well, that's true.
look, you can try and live forever in the age of technology, but you cannot live forever in the age of grow food and
Or
live.
die.
Yeah, exactly.
Grow food or die.
Exactly. You can fucking grow food or die. And I will be on that level.
So you think the simplicity of old times would bring you peace?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, back in my day, chat, we had a very simpler time without the internet being connected to the phones.
That's true. A true point. With infinite possibilities comes infinite
Probabilities.
problems. I mean, you have to make choices that you otherwise wouldn't have to do.
Exactly. And if we're only growing food, we're only trying to make it to the next day. We're only trying to go ahead and make sure that everything is going to be okay tomorrow, not 70 million years from now, which me and you have fucking proven.
Being 100 years old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, AK, like, we have fought and strove to go ahead and prove that internet immortality can be a way, but isn't the way. We can be good people, and we can go ahead and accept each other despite our disputes, despite our political gains, despite everything in between.
Yeah.
You and I can still be friends.
Of course. We actually disagree on more than most people.
Yeah. You bring the light, and I'm a little bit stepped in the dark.
The fur, I mean, it shows it. Not that I've worn fur either. I mean, I would never wear fur.
Check out our other episodes.
Yeah, it's coming together even if we have our differences. And
Yeah, but like, we can go ahead and prove that we can be diametrically different and still come together to make something fun.
yeah,
Despite all the Dukkah we're in.
that's the thing. I'm not in any Dukkah.
Ah,
I have stepped fully out of the Dukkah.
he's out of the state of reincarnate.
I'm in the flow state. There is no Dukkah on me.
No, this man has found the fucking hose outside.
When I walk off this podcast and I snap both ankles in my old age of 100 years old, I will smile.
Because there will be no Dukkah on his shoes.
Because there will be no Dukkah. Only light. My ankles will be like flashlights to the caves of old.
Amen. Give this man credit where credit's due. He is absolutely free of the Dukkah.
I think we should do a moist critical wrap up on this one.
Go for it. Wrap us up.
Yeah, so that's about it, guys.